Everybody. My name is Jessica Ralston. I'm so glad you guys are here on the call with us tonight. I see a lot of new faces, so that's nice. I'll introduce myself real quick before we get started. We're going to talk, Monica and I are going to go back and forth on what we learned at the New Leadership Conference. And so hopefully it's something that benefits you after this call. But my name is Jessica. I am a mother of two. I have a 15-year-old daughter who's in theater and drama and all those things. And then I have a son who is 11, and he is a very, very talented drummer and plays in bands and also is a baseball kid. So as a parent, I'm super, super busy, as almost, well, probably everybody on the planet is. And so trying to find time to work this business has been challenging yet awesome at the same time. So we're going to get started. Oh, and I've also been married for 20 years to my high school sweetheart. So we're going to be celebrating 21 years actually in just a couple months. So that's to me that I'm old enough to be married that long, let alone old enough to be that old. I have been coaching for 4 years, a little over 4 years, and just earned the opportunity to get to New Leadership Conference in LA last month, and it was amazing. I'm super, super grateful and excited that my girl Monica was there with me. It was a lot of fun that both of us got to experience that together. So we're going to go through this quickly because I don't know about you guys. I don't know. I'm sure some of you are on the East Coast. I know my girls are. And so I'm in Central Standard Time, but my kids are coming and going. So I want to make sure that we have time to get through this and then answer any questions that you have. But I'm going to start off. When we first got there, there was this transformation wall. First of all, they asked us to bring pictures of any of our people who have gotten before and after photos. And so I went to my girls and gentlemen and said, who has pictures you guys would like to share? If anyone said yes, I took them, I printed them out, and I took them with me to NLC. And there was this wall there that had magnets in like a bucket, and you could put them up on the wall. And as the day went on, more and more and more and more incredible photos were added to that wall. And as you can imagine, after a couple days, that wall was completely filled, and pictures were coming off of the edges of the wall and down on the floor and like creeping out. It just was overflowing. And every time I walked by, I was hit with this overwhelming emotion. I mean, I still talk about it and cry right now, but it was so, so powerful to see all of these before and afters and progress pictures all in one place, and from a very, very small percentage of coaches who do what we do. And that wall was so impactful to me. And so when we first started the conference, Carl came out and really started it off with the fact that we as coaches, we have to get people results. So Monica, if you want to go ahead and share this, we'll just run through it real quick. And I love the fact that when he came out and talked about getting people results, he shared his own transformation. And when he first began with P90, was it P90X? I believe it was. Anyway, let me minimize that. There we go. Can you go back a little bit there, Monica, because I just closed my screen. Thank you, friend. He just talked about getting results, and he shared his own transformation story about how, you know, when he first started and what age he was when he first started and his before and after. And then years went by and he showed another before and after. And then most recently he shared one, which was the 21-day fix real time. I believe that was the program. It was more recent. And he showed his before and after about just our progress is always happening. But if we as coaches can ensure that we are really focusing on getting our clients and our customers and our friends and our family actual results, and that being the center of our focus, then really it's going to make a huge turning point and a huge difference in our business. Because I don't know about you guys, but being here for 4+ years, the people who have gotten results are people who are still with me. So I have had people who have started with me from the very beginning, and those people are still here because they have truly had a transformation, whether that was a physical one or a mental one. but that should really be our forefront of helping people get what it is they need. All right, let's see here. Oh, and the fact that we offer a total solution. I loved when he went into this too. Just going to hit on this real quickly. There's a lot of businesses out there who offer fitness, and there's a lot of businesses out there who offer nutrition or can help in little tiny parts of all of that. But we are the total solution. We literally have everything someone needs to get the results that they're looking for. So he really led with that, with the fact that when you're talking to people and having conversations about what it is they actually need, make sure that you can offer them that total solution, not just fitness, not just nutrition, but all of it together. And the fact that you will be the one that gives them the accountability and the motivation and help as their cheerleader, if you will, to get those results that they're searching for. All right, thanks, Mom.
Thank you.
Are you up next? Yes.
Why can't I go to the second slide? Okay, so for those of you that have never been to NLC, it's New Leadership Conference, and you get the invitation once you hit 1 star, for those of you that have not heard about it. So if it's not on your vision board for this year, please make it a point to do that. But let me back up. My name is Monica. I've been a coach for almost 4 years. And I live in Herndon, Virginia with my 4-month-old and my husband, and coaching came into my life. My coach, Alicia, who's on this call, invited me February of 2016, and it's just been a game changer completely. So Jess and I, we're going to kind of toggle back and forth between all the talks that we got to listen to. And so the next one, I don't know if you guys can see that, but the next one's from a girl named Kelsey. I believe her name's Kelsey Hill. Yeah. She actually was at 1 star last year. She was at New Leadership Conference last year, and she's in the top 10, guys. So she went from qualifying for a New Leader Conference last year and ended the year as a top 10 coach. Now, you guys got to let that sink in, because this whole topic of what I'm going to talk to you guys about is what a difference a year makes, which is stepping up leadership game. And she talked about the things that helped her really just move on up and really just focus for the past year. So let me see if I can do this right. Okay, I'm going to move this over here. So if you guys were on 2 weeks ago, we talked about the Success Club System Tracker. How many of you use this? Or how many have never heard of it? Okay, so I think we mentioned 2 weeks ago, but I cannot stress enough, she and everyone else that spoke talked about using this tracker. And what she specifically did was she used the tracker system, how it's laid out, but then she 10x'd everything. So she said to herself, if I want these big goals, then I'm really going to have to bring it. And I'm going to have to look at that as a baseline, because that's what everyone else is doing, and that's fine, but I'm going to 10x that. So let's say on here it's invite 5 people. She invited 50. If, it's following up with 20, she, 10x. So that's kind of the first thing that she did in her business to step it up. And I said this a couple weeks ago too, but she said, if you have a business, you have to track it. And I love that. And I can't stress that enough. So her big thing was obviously tracking, because if you don't, then how do you know who you're talking to, or who you're planning on talking to? How do you know where to kind of focus when you're sitting down for your power hour? So that was the first thing she said. The second thing is up your PD. There's 2 recommendations that she gave where leaders eat last, which I'd never heard of, and it's totally on my list to purchase, and permission to screw up. She said to obviously act like a leader, you've got to read all the things about leaders and believe that you want to be, all the things that you're reading. So PD, obviously, we know that it's one of our vital behaviors, but specifically reading on leadership and leading your team, if that's a focus of yours for this year, then those are 2 recommendations that she. The third thing she talked about was shifting to a giving mindset. Again, I talked about that a little bit last time. but I really, really like it because it's something that I have as a post-it note. How can I give back to them? How can you give back to your challengers? How can you give back to your coaches and the people that are following you? Like every post that you do or every follow or whatever it is, like how can you give? And that's just something that really shifted her mindset last year that she said really was a game changer. And she also mentioned, you gotta, when you find your go-getters, the people that really want to run with you, give them everything, give them your time, give them your resources, like pour into them because they're taking the time to show up with you. So give them everything. And I really, really like that. And she said, even when she was hitting, certain milestones in her business, it wasn't fulfilling enough. But she said once she started pouring into her team and creating that culture, which she'll talk about later, that's what it was for her. It became so much more fulfilling than just, hitting Success Club every month or, like rank advancements. This piece really was like the core of her business last year. And then becoming more self-reliant, hosting your own sneak peeks, your own coach calls, stop depending on your upline. If you're someone who maybe runs your challenge group with your upline, that might have been a stepping stone, but maybe it's something that you want to branch out, or maybe you try a free group that you lead on your own, try that out, like baby steps, but inch by inch, like just kind of step it up a little bit. And I know it's terrifying. And I remember the first time Alicia told me to get on a call, I was like beet red. It was like horrifying, but no one noticed. And it's a stepping stone because now I can get on these calls and talk. And I'm not going to say it's not a big deal, but it gets easier and you feel proud of yourself. So that's another thing. I think there's one more slide for this topic. Oops. And then the last thing which she talked about was team culture. So focus on your team culture and focus on one and make it to where you're proud. Like you are so proud to show off your team. Reward your hardworking coaches and understand too that like she was sharing, obviously we're all different. We all coach differently. We all like receive differently. Certain things work for us, certain groups work for us, certain training. So try to understand your coaches and understand how they want to be led and try to lead them that way. So it's really important to understand your team, not just build the team, but understand your team culture as well. So that's stepping up your leadership game. If you guys have any questions about that, let us know. Keep going. Raise your hand if you want me to keep going. Jess is next. Okay.
Can I ask a question, Monica?
Sure.
So with team culture, did she talk about anything that she does to learn more about her team? Like, does she ask them to talk, like do quiz for their love languages or Enneagram or anything like that? Did she get into that at all?
Jess, do you remember if she did?
I don't have that as this, but I think it was mentioned. It's not in my notes, but I do think that we did talk about that. She talked about the Enneagram and knowing what your number is and how she knows what her team's number is. So I'm sure that she's done that test. Love languages, obviously, that's another really great one to kind of get a feeler on your people and how to speak to them and love on them, right? But I don't think she didn't go into any detail about it. That's for sure.
Yeah, but someone else, I believe it was Melanie, did bring up the Enneagram. Like that's a really great place to plan your team. I believe she brought it up. So
yes.
Cool. I was just curious.
Yeah.
Good question. All right. I get to talk about leveling up your leadership. And I'm not sure as far as the friends on the call, if you are a coach for the last week or if you have, been a coach for 2 months, a year, or 4+ years like I have. But this one really hit home for me as a coach who has been coaching for a long time and being very steady and hitting specific goals, but just kind of running my business like this. When I listened to Melanie talk about leveling up your leadership, it really was not only eye-opening for me, but made me think about some really deep questions and things I have to ask myself. So it might be the same for you, but we're just going to dive into it here. So if you would move that, Monica, please. Thank you. She did start out, and I don't know, I don't know if some of your brand new coaches who have been around for a while, but Melanie is incredible and has been a top coach forever. As long as I've been a coach, she's been up there. And she is so, when I say incredible, with just the fact that she shares everything. So if you have followed her or seen her, she shares a lot about our business and is very giving and forefront to other coaches, even those who are not on her team. But she did talk a lot about leveling up your business, your belief. She talked about creating a vision board. And I don't know how many of you have done that in the past or who have done that this year. But she talked about being very specific with your vision and your goals and making that vision board and having those goals on there that are big and scary and some that are small and more attainable, but having them all out there so they are in your forefront, having them where you can see them and think about those and remember those things. And then when you have those victories, to actually celebrate them, whether they're small victories or big victories, it doesn't matter. A win is a win, right? So she's very, what's the word? I lost it. Sorry. Anyway, she makes a vision board, and she has actually created vision boards. I've seen them through her YouTube stuff and channels like that. So if you ever wanted to go to Melanie's things and kind of see how she does those, if you're not familiar with the vision board, that'd be a good, maybe a personal development thing that you could check out. Her second thing was stay in phase 1. This was really great because 80% she talked about should be your own personal business, and 20 should be pouring into your team. And the reason is because when she first started out, she was working her business and doing the things that would help her business grow. And then as her team started to grow, she started to shift that over and was pouring all of her time and energy and effort into her team, and noticed that her personal business, her numbers were changing significantly. And then she realized she had to switch that back over to really focusing on the things that would move her own personal business forward 80% of the time, and then 20% really focusing in on her team. She also talked a lot about getting comfortable with talking about the business opportunity. That's something that I'm still working on as a coach, is just being really comfortable. I'm super comfortable about talking about my challenge groups. I'm super comfortable talking about every single product that Beachbody has. But for some reason, I struggle with that next step of inviting people to coaching. And so that's something that, again, when I was listening to her speak, I thought, oh, I have growth that I can do in this category here, which is leveling up my leadership. But just getting really comfortable with talking about being a coach, the opportunity that others can be a coach, what they can get out of that. This part I really loved. She talked about looking at your team, look at your whole team, and kind of putting them into categories. And I don't know if some of you may have little tiny teams, some of you may have really great big teams right now. But if you look at your team, and I can already tell you where mine go, there's really 3 categories that Melanie puts her people in. And you have your coaches who are loyal. They love everything Beachbody. They want the discount. They love you. They'll be your coach forever, but they will never work the business. And that's okay. But she puts them in a category called loyalist. And then she has a group that she puts the people who they have goals, they show up, they talk about it, but there's not a lot of action or follow through. And she puts them in the talkers category. And then she has the runners category, which are the ones that are setting goals, they're taking action, they're coachable, they want to be there, they have big goals and they're willing to work for them. And she puts them out in 3 categories, just like that: loyalists, talkers, and runners. And she just said, when you have those loyalists, you love them, but you're not pouring a lot of time in them. They're like still your challengers, and they want the discount, and that's great. Your talkers are great, but they're not going to run the business. So you're not spending hours upon hours with your talkers because there's no action for them. So what she does is she'll even, because typically talkers will say that they have big goals, and she'll say, okay, well, how can you work on that? And then she'll ask them to show her the tracker and, you know, ask for that follow-up part, right? Mostly talkers don't tend to do that. So then they don't come back to her and she's not wasting hours and hours and hours on someone who really doesn't actually want to work the business. But with your runners, those are the ones that you run next to and help support so that they can actually get the goals that they are striving for. So she did say, she talked a lot about how she kind of supports those 3 groups, but really you're running with your runners. So you need to know who those people are, you can support them, and then run with them. So, oh, and she also said down here, it'll show you where your gaps are. So exclusive one-on-one time with your coaches, 30 minutes, week or twice a month. Again, you're not having those calls with your loyalists, and you're gonna have probably a one-on-one call with your talkers at the beginning. And then, I mean, that would be a perfect one to have like once a month. And if they're not doing things, then you'll say, okay, I'm gonna check back in with you next month, or you can contact me, you know, but you're not spending tons and tons of time on that. And then just guiding them to reach your goals. Thanks, Monica. So I'm all covered up here. There we go. Creating smart systems. You guys, if you don't have an email list yet, you need to start collecting those emails. That will be very beneficial to you as you continue to grow your business. All of them talked about tracking. You have to track. Not only should you be tracking for your own health and wellness, but you should be tracking your business, whether those are your clients, whether those are people to follow up with, your business tracker, email list. So every time you are having conversations and gathering those emails, making sure that you are tracking that, have a place for that to go. Flowdesk is a new one. I have not set it up yet, but my girl Jen on here is doing that, and can probably answer questions for us in the future if we have those. Creating a newsletter. Start getting that information out to your people. The more they read it, the more they see it, the more likely when they have that moment of I need help or I want extra income, they're going to think of you because you've been providing things for them. Google Streak is another way you can set up a system, if you will, to help track people names, what kind of conversations you've had with them, and then getting really comfortable with the comp plan, you guys. Getting in the back office, going through the training. The compensation plan is so important for you as a leader to get your head wrapped around and understand, so that you can really support your new coaches. There's coaches out there who need to make money. And if they need to make money, and that's why they're here, you need to be able to provide to them how they're going to get it. What do they have to do to earn that money? What are the different things that are set up so that they actually get it? So understanding that comp plan is super, super important, right? Thanks, Monica. Oh. And go back one for me, I think, or is this it? Oh yes, leveling up. Whoop. It's a little touchy. I think the next one was leveling up your mindset. And she talked about, can you go back one, Monica?
That's all I have.
Oh, never mind. What did I just get? Go back one. I'm sorry, I wish I had my own button
This
here.
part right here.
Okay, that's where we're at.
Yeah.
Leveling up your mindset.
I don't know how 5 became 3, whatever. This is the part that you have next.
Oh, but I already talked about 3, so the slide's just confusing to me. Okay, got it, no problem. Dare to Lead was one that she suggested in Goal Digger. And then she talked about having a really solid morning routine. That actually has been something that has really changed my business, is having a solid morning routine. You guys, sometimes it's as easy as getting up 30 minutes earlier than you used to. Sometimes it's as easy as, first of all, I'm a crazy lady when it comes to Rachel Hollis. So having a Start Today journal has changed all kinds of things for me. Just setting my goal, my intention, starting with gratitude in the morning, having quiet time, daily devotionals, whatever it is for you, having that solid morning routine, getting up, perhaps you get up, you have 30 minutes to yourself, and then you work out. Whatever it looks like, have that in place and protect it, because that will get you started on the right track for the rest of the day. And I'll tell you, when you wake up before the world wakes up, whether that world is your little people or your family, your husband or whatever, really, in my own opinion and things that I've experienced, I can get so much done in that 2-hour block than I can get done in the entire day. So something to think about. And if you need ideas for that, we'd be more than happy to kind of share those at a later date. All right, Mom. Is this still me? Yes. All right.
Yeah, I don't know how to, sorry, I keep moving these. I don't know.
You're okay. You're fine. And then the keys to duplication. Just empowering another coach to run their business independently. Duplication is the key. She talked a lot about that. And I'll tell you, it really comes down to onboarding new coaches. And this is something, again, when she was talking about it, I was like, this is what I need. This is all the information I need to hear. And again, you guys, I've been here for a while. It's not like I just showed up, right? So we're constantly learning as coaches. At least we should be. And we should be able to notice when something's not working and make those tweaks so that we can do better and be better and provide more for others. Goes back to what Monica was saying with that giving mindset. Let's see here. Sorry, I'm looking at my notes too. I love the fact that she talked about it needs to be simple and scalable. Simple. I have to keep coming back to that on my own as well. And she talked about tracking it, allocating your time to where it's needed most, and being very laser focused with that. And when you have the duplication, that it takes 3. It takes you, then it takes your coach, it takes their coach. So really, as you're duplicating those systems and those onboarding things that you have set in place, how you can make them simple and how they can not only help your coach, but then your coach's coach and their coaches and so on. And then she really did just end with believing in yourself enough to actually act. So having enough confidence in yourself to actually do the action that will take to bring in your coaches, build your team, and continue your business. All right, babe, you're up.
Do you guys have any questions so far? How do I freaking move this thing?
Really quick question, Jess.
Yeah.
Did she talk specifically how she onboards her new people, or did she just literally say simple process?
Girl, you know how the 2 days went, and we're trying to cut it into like 10 minutes, right?
I know, like messy brain.
Yeah, I know. Looking at my thing here with her onboarding. Hold on. You know what? I'm going to make a note, Alicia, and I'm just going to go back to the actual slides that they shared and see if there's anything that will like pop out, and then I'll share that with you. Maybe I'll look it up while she's doing that as well.
Cool. My biggest question with that is, does she onboard everybody the same way, or is she kind of catering it to individual people? She has to be catering a little bit.
She didn't specify that, but the way that she was talking and her actual, and Monica, you can pipe in on this, but I feel like the way that she was actually speaking and the fact that she was trying to make it as simple as possible, I think she probably onboards everybody the same, and then she takes that sheet and she finds out who her talkers are, her loyalists are, and her runners, and then she takes the next step. Because she really talked about how she does that quite often, that she takes that piece of paper and she runs through her, obviously she brings in lots of coaches. Mm-hmm. So as she's onboarding them, I really do believe that she probably brings them all in the same. And then she
categorizes them.
Yeah. And then she puts them into and then helps them and supports them after that.
Got
Absolutely. It. Yep.
Right. Okay. I am not looking at the chat box, so maybe just if there's questions that come in there, you can. But how many of us run challenge groups? And how many of us at one point or another feel like they're frustrating because people are stagnant and not paying like attention and participating. Okay, so Sammy Glomek, I don't know if I'm saying her name correctly, but she was another elite coach that was there. She was awesome. I really loved her personality. And she talked about how her personal challenge groups were just boring and she just wasn't finding interest in them. So she had to find a way to find joy in running them. And that's exactly what she did last year. And she kind of shared tips on how she did that. So this stupid thing. Okay, so whether you're on Facebook running your group or if you are on the Tracker app, she recommends first and foremost to create a unit of prep week. So have a unit, like if you're on Facebook, create a specific unit within your group that has everything to do with prep week resources. So like if they're joining on day 1 or day 5, they have a place to go. You can just tell them, go through this unit and it's right there within the group. They don't have to like go everywhere. It's going to be a little bit different if you're on the Challenge Tracker app like I am with my team. But what I have done is I've created a specific Facebook group where all those quote unquote units of prep are, and then I bring them over to the tracker. So that's the first thing. Within those, the challenge group, she has a starting right video and she labels it watch first. So she's on there and she basically directs people to watch that video first, telling them probably a little bit about herself, just kind of the different tools to get started. But they know that they're joining with a real person. So that's the second thing she does. The third thing she does is she created these mini challenges within the group. So you can either partner up with people or do it in groups of 3. And for example, one of the challenges she gave them was get to 100 bottles of water. The first team to get through 100 bottles of water wins a prize, or a team that gets through 100 wins of excuses, then they get a prize. So like within the weeks that you guys have your groups, like do something fun and different when it comes to that. She also talked a little bit how the challenge groups are the foundation of our business. So if you're a coach and, inviting is your thing, or coach sneak peeks your thing, and challenge groups are not your thing, make it your thing, because that's the foundation of where we find our coaches, where we find people in love with this stuff. It's from our challenge groups. The other thing that she talked about was creating a new client guide. This is something that me and a few other of us have access to, or we just created as our team. I think last month. It's just a PDF where it just has everything that you need in it, how to get started. This is just a little guide that you can send to your people also. She taught me to see if she added anything there. Yeah. So it could just be a simple PDF that you send people instead of, saying the same thing over and over again to all of your clients. And then crucial, she says, to create trust from day 1, you want to do one-on-one calls with new clients. This is something that I haven't done that often. Sometimes I will, but even if you're doing, like let's say you have 3 or 4 people that are joining in on the same time, have a call with them. I think, Alicia, you do this at some point, right? 15 minutes. It doesn't have to be long. Get them on a call, and a Zoom call, and just, kind of go through the basics. They need to see you. They need to hear you. They need to know that you're going to pay attention to them from day 1, because it really does make a difference in how they start. We all know if we start strong, we're probably going to continue and get motivated. And also remember that my coach invested in me. My coach took the time to get on a call with me. Like, this is legit. So she definitely recommends that. And then creating FOMO on social media. This is something that I've been doing a lot of lately. So I will screenshot a lot of things that we're doing in our challenge groups and then put it into my stories. Or let's say there was you asked your challenge group, what's your favorite, what's Shakeology you've been doing for you, now, what are the benefits? And just screenshot one by one, what they're saying, or what was your win today, or whatever it is. Another thing that I've been doing is if I'm randomly scrolling and I see a challenger that's been rocking it, I've been screenshotting a post that I love and putting it in my stories, be like, this mama has been rocking it really hard this week in my Fit Fam. Was that me? I don't know if it was me. And so, just you're creating that FOMO on social media so that people understand, like, when they get to your challenge group, they already know bits and pieces of what's going on because you've hyped it up. And then the last thing I believe she said was send weekly emails to clients. This is something I've just started doing, but they need to know, like, whatever it is. She gave an example. Let's say you're in your group for the week and you notice that nutrition was a problem, or people are not, like, loving on other people. Whatever is specific to your group, address that in the email for that week, along with your weekly meal plans or whatever you have going on. But also make it very specific to your team or to your challenge group so that they feel like, oh wow, she's really paying attention, she's really, like, into this. I don't know if I have another one. Okay, and the last couple of things were accountability. Obviously, this is a huge piece. When we're advertising for challenge groups, accountability is something that's, like, a huge thing that we offer to them. And we say that's how we're different than other places. We want to check in as much as possible. I know that we all have busy lives and things are crazy. And even myself, I don't always get to like and comment on every post, but she was just saying, as much as you can, love on your people. And then the last thing that she said about challenge groups were to go in your groups at least once a week and do a live video and, like, let them know you're there. Like, maybe this is something me and my team have been doing recently, is just going in and just talking about how we're doing. And, like, as coaches, showing them the real life of, like, what, I'm a coach and I'm struggling, or, I need motivation this week, or whatever it is. It doesn't always have to be this motivational speech that you're, like, above them. Like, you're with them in the trenches, you're doing this with them. And so seeing you on the group, in your group once a week, does make a difference. I think that wraps that up. Do you have anything else to add, Jess? I think that was it.
No, that was great.
The last quote that she said was, I believe it was her. It's up to us to bring back the joy in our groups. It's not our challengers. It's not other coaches we run with. It is up to you, the person that you see on the screen, to bring back the joy. And that is, like, when we're putting so much effort, think about the effort that you put into inviting someone to your group. Put that much effort into bringing joy back. Like, make it fun. If you're bored of your challenge group, chances are your people are too. So, any questions on challenge groups? All right, let's keep it rolling.
Okay. All right, and I'm going to talk again. Melanie came back out the second day. So they each spoke twice, and she was talking about planning your business. Again, she was talking about leveling up. If you are trying to level up, how are you going to approach your business? Are you spending time in the right areas, doing those kinds of things, right? So she's talking about what you really need to get clear on what your goals are for 2020. And for Melanie, she's very detail oriented when it comes to, these are the goals that she wants, and then she figures out how and what she has to do to get to those goals, okay? She talked about too the fact that you're going to have moments where you actually hit those goals, and you're going to have moments where you're reaching towards them and you fall short. And I loved hearing her say that, because I've witnessed her since I started coaching as being a very incredible, successful coach. And so when she talked about her first year, she had this goal and she was reaching towards it, and she got so close and came short. And I felt like, oh my goodness, I'm that, right? I can relate to that. It happened for me when I tried to hit 1 star the first time, and I got within 1 week and dropped rank, and it was so heartbreaking for me. And at that moment, I had to think, what happened? What did I learn from that? And how can I help my coaches not have that same thing happen to them, right? So really, really important. But when she was talking about that, she talked about resiliency and the fact that you have to get back up. You do it anyway. You learn from that and you keep moving forward. But again, it really meant something to me, because I think, well, I would hope that each one of us have had fails in this business, or have come short when you're trying to work towards something. And instead of just giving up or stopping, to know that you just get back up. You keep moving forward. You learn from it, change what you need to change, go with what was working, and then keep going. She talked about laying it all out, starting with the requirements that if you're working towards diamond, what are the requirements you need for that? Understanding all aspects of that. If you're working towards 1 star, what do you have to hold 1 star? Those are important things. And the qualifications change, ladies and gentlemen, every single time. Every single thing has a different requirement. So being very clear about what those are. But she also talked about educating yourself on what it takes to actually get. So if you're laying out what your goals are for 2020 and you're saying, I want to be a 1 star by summit, you need to know what all those requirements are and then lay it out, break it down on a monthly basis. What do you need to accomplish this month? What do you need to accomplish this week? How many people do you need to talk to? How many people, how many coaches do you need to bring in? Like really breaking it down, having those numbers, having that information, and then narrow your focus. Narrow it in, like put the blinders on and really get laser focused. She says that a lot. If you've heard Melanie talk, she always talks about really being laser focused on how she's going to get to that goal that she has set for herself and getting really, really clear on it. Let's see. I have different notes here. I don't know if it's on this letter or maybe it's not. Hold on. Nope. She also talked a lot too about sharing that stuff with your coaches and your team about this is what my goals are. This is for my vision for 2020, having them share theirs as well, but letting them know that this is the goal she's reaching towards. And the runners who want to run with her, if they want those goals, or being very, very clear and open about expectations, I really think helps your team understand that too. When I was going for 1 star, I was very, very clear with my team about what that meant for us and what that meant as a team and how it would take certain things on my part, but also certain things on their part. And we did it together. So being very clear on that. So what's your slide edge? I don't have that note in here, the slide edge part, but
Which one?
The groups, what's your slide edge? Do you remember that part?
Yeah, all she was saying was make your groups different. Like, you know, everybody comes into a challenge group expecting the same kind of thing. Like, what's your slide edge? It's that one thing that's going to make you different than everyone else's group. So kind of find out your unique style.
Thank you. And then just getting everything on your calendar, being really organized with what are the things getting ready to come out? What are the launches that are going to take place? How are you going to integrate those things within your own business? Looking at that calendar, getting those things on the calendar, also making sure that your work stuff is on the calendar. If you're protecting your work hours, you're a person that actually has a 9-to-5 job you're going to and you're working in power pockets of time, you probably need to get those things on the calendar. When are you going to work out? When are you going to be the product of the product? When are you going to schedule your personal development? Do you listen to it when you're driving to work? All of those things will help you reach your goals. And then she talked about advertising every 7 to 10 days. Again, that comes out with that newsletter, you guys. If you have an email list and you can get the information to people through that newsletter and just constantly telling them every 7 to 10 days information and also providing content, you guys would be shocked at how much people begin to trust you when you are giving them things and they know that you are a person who truly wants to help with a giving heart, which comes back to what Monica was talking about at the beginning. Serving others. How can you serve others? But advertise that every 7 to 10 days. I think. Anybody have questions on that one? I know we're just kind of running through, but again, there's so much information and trying to get it in under an hour is kind of, bullet points, ladies, bullet points. All right, Monica, anything you want to add to that?
I just wanted to add, when she said, when you confuse, you lose, that statement really stood out to me. And what she means by that is, how many times have we been so excited about a new challenge group and then a new launch and then your coach sneak peek all in the same week? And people are like, it's just too much. So one thing she said, when you create your calendar, like, have it all out, advertise for that first and then that. And so what I personally took from that was, this week I'm focusing on inviting to my challenge group. Next week I'm going to focus on, 10 rounds. Then the third week I'm going to focus on coach sneak peek. So kind of like break it down like that. Like, don't just throw everything, because people are going to be like, I don't know what this girl, like, she's doing all kinds of stuff. And so that really, really stood out to me when she said that. So when you confuse, you lose.
Guys, just a quick thing I was thinking on that too, Monica, to piggyback you, is having the same plan with that every single month, so your people know exactly what to expect from you. So your audience knows, like, oh, she starts her groups the first week of the month. She talks about this every week before and the week of, and then she talks, they expect that from you. So if they've been sitting on the fence, when that comes up again, they're ready to jump all over that when you have it regularly, repeatedly, reliably coming up for them in your stories and in your Facebook posts and all of that, so coming up with a schedule you can rely on from month to month with your free groups, with your challenge groups, with your invites to What is Coaching, that will save you so much planning, and it makes you look more trustworthy and reliable to the people that are following you.
Yeah,
it just really comes down to that consistency part, Alicia. If we're being consistent in our business and we're not only showing up with being the product of the product, but also how we run our business, consistent in that, you're absolutely right. People expect that because they've been watching us and following us. Really important. Yeah, thank you for that.
Definitely. Okay, so I know we have like 7 minutes left, so I'm going to try to wrap this up with the last topic, is how to grow your following on social media. I'm sure all of us at one point like really want to do this. Kelsey Hill talked a little bit about it. A lot of this is basic, but I'm just going to run through it really quick. So you're growing your social media. Put yourself out there. If you've never shared your coach story, or if you never shared a vulnerability about your life or something that's super endearing to you and you're nervous about it, put yourself out there and do it. Just take that risk, because you never know. Those are really the ones where people, even if they're not liking and commenting, they're really, you're touching them, and they're going to remember that. They're going to remember that this person really put themselves out there, or they connected with something that you shared, which is not always typical. Take daily action. I think we all here know that. That's something you have to do consistently. This is a business. Treat it like a business. You can't just show up, once or twice a week on social media and expect for people to follow you and really like get excited about your posts, or just to have any sort of consistent traction. This one goes with the first one: find comfort in uncomfortable situations. Again, just putting yourself out there, just being uncomfortable with certain things that maybe you've never, thought of, or even, going out to like different gatherings or situations where you might not, maybe to meet new people or whatever, to grow your, following. You can also do that. Show up daily. I don't know why that's on there again, but pretty much show up daily. We all know that. And then one, again, she kept talking about this, giving mindset. Focus on quality in your posts. It used to be that, and I remember when I first started being a coach, I would post 3 times a day. I have no idea like what I was doing, what content I was putting out there, but 3 times a day, that was a lot. But if you focus and plan on 1 post a day, make it like a quality one that's more, because you're probably going to be giving more into that post than just spreading yourself thin with different like 3 or 4 different ones. And then create content that's shareable. You really want people to like, whether it be a recipe or like how to do this or how to read labels, like you really want people to come to your page to learn. Like you want to, this also goes with a good mindset. Like at least once a week, I make it a point to like give a recipe or show somebody something, like, because you really want them to keep coming back to your page and then like adding followers, because you are sharing stuff that is either easy to do or, helpful in some way. So that's really what she talked about. And then at the very end, she talked about where you get your content. So Pinterest, even past posts. She talked about if there was a post that you did like a year ago or maybe a few months ago that got a lot of traction, maybe just redo it, just post it again and maybe tweak a couple things, maybe change a picture or whatever. But if it did well in the past, chances are it's going to do well again. So, don't be afraid to do that. Sharing your story, which I talked about earlier, just kind of sprinkling it in maybe every week, just a different part of who you are and why you're coaching or things like that. You don't need to be like, hi, I'm a Beachbody coach and this is a part of my story. Just kind of sprinkle it into where it's like you're having a conversation with somebody. And then personal development. This is something I've been trying to do recently with, if we're all doing that vital behavior of reading personal development, there's probably something that's touching us, that's, sparking something within us. Like, make that a post. It doesn't have to be a picture of the book. It could be a picture of you smiling or, in a different place. But like, there's something about that thing that you read, the other day in your personal development book that really spoke to you. So think about that. And then following non-Beachbody influencers is something she did, just to kind of see what they were doing. Maybe they have a creative way of laying out their posts or showing how to share a recipe or things like that. So, the more that we can kind of diversify the way we do things. Okay, good. He has clothes on. Is probably this is how we're going to end the call. So following non-Beachbody influencers is always a good idea to diversify your content. And I think that's pretty much,
go ahead. Go ahead, Monica. I was just going to add on your one part there about creating content that's savable and shareable, because there's 3 words that she used. She said, inspire, educate, and motivate. So if you are creating content that can either inspire someone, educate someone, or motivate someone, they're going to be more apt to either share that or save that information and consume that. So just kind of, again, goes back to that giving mindset about what can we actually provide for people who are watching us and maybe want to join us. So, thank you, Monica.
Absolutely. And there's just the last thing that I like that she did was she created a ritual after every post. So literally when she went to go post for the day, she created her ritual, which is liking and commenting other people or, adding people to her network. Like, she made it like this action where she created that ritual, her post for the day, and then she knew that triggered her to do all these other things to kind of keep her organized. So just a little tidbit that she shared. But that's pretty much in a nutshell, like a day and a half of training we gave you guys. And are we on time? Perfect, 9:00 exactly. So I'm going to stop the share. I know that was like a lot of information. Hopefully, something resonated with you guys tonight. Hopefully there was like something that you can take and put in practice. The one thing I'm going to say too is, NLC was a couple weeks ago, and I'm already forgetting, some of the things that I learned, and I'm already forgetting that fire. And so if there's something on this call that you guys were inspired by, or you're like, this is what I, want to do, or go do it immediately. Like, not like right now, but like have it in your mind you can do it right now if you want, but have it in your mind to do it like soon, because it's like, if you were touched by it, you want to protect that and like run with it. So I'm losing my voice. I'm sure you guys are done with that. What questions do you have, if any?
Can we take a picture really quick?
Yes.
I'll
grab one.
Okay. Ready? Okay, cool.
Nice.
All right, you guys good? Do you guys have any questions, comments, feedback?
That was amazing. You guys were freaking awesome. Like, seriously, Monica and Jess, I got all the emails from you guys. You like goosebumps multiple times.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for writing on the chat too. I tried to keep up with some of that. Hopefully we answered that. I just want to thank everybody for taking time out of your evening, because I know that is a commitment, and the fact that you showed up tonight, we really, really appreciate that. So thank you, everybody.
Thanks, girls, so much. It's so fun hearing about your experience. And everybody who has not been at NLC yet, 2021, you are scheduled to lead a call to tell us everything you learned. So if it's not on your vision board and you haven't been, you cannot go to bed without putting it on your vision board or writing on a sticky or a napkin or a piece of toilet paper, and then take a picture of it and send it to your airplane coach. Okay? All right.
Yeah, I
There you
agree.
go.
Get it on your vision board. You need to be there for sure.
Bye,
Bye.
girls. Night.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.
Guys.
Good night. Bye, everybody.